even though it is early morning here for us in Virginia. We have a donation here from Kyushi Bonsai, $15. It says, shout out from Japan, where these late night runs come on just as I get home from work. Thank you for all of those enjoyable runs of both classics and obscure games that I've never heard of. Coming up next now, we have LittleBigPlanet 3. Another PlayStation game, and then following that up, it's going to be Road Trip Adventure right after. So if you were thinking of donating toward one of those 3 incentives for RTA, you've got a bit of time left. We see some of the statuses there of those incentives on screen. We had a donation here of $20 from Volvi. Says, always love watching the GDQs, but my aunt's cancer diagnosis became terminal on Christmas Day this year, so the charity is completely on point for me. She's in the next room, so it's lovely to have AGDQ on in the background to come back into. Shout out to anyone giving support to cancer victims, families, and those caring for them 24/7, including my buddy Williams M42, who I get to share AGDQ with. Thanks to everyone involved, an amazingly worthwhile event. Cuban Belmont jumped in with $20 during that IQ run. Says Intelligent Cube was one of my favorite games to play with my family when I was a kid. Excited to see how this is going to be done so fast. And it was. Here's $10 to naming the Dark Souls 3 character Hooty Doody, and of course $10 to kill the animals. We have $40 here from SSBM Boomy X. Says, love watching AGDQ and SGDQ, of course, every year. In 2013, my mom passed away after a long battle with breast cancer. Shoutouts to Pidge Zero and to the entire London Smash community. We are getting set up here for LittleBigPlanet 3. Any percent run, no create with rbdjellyfish. But in the meantime, those donations, they still come in. All day long, in fact. $15 here, anonymous. Thanks, GDQ, for another great event, bringing a lovely community of people together to fix us all up with speed runs. Here's a donation to fix the problem that is cancer. Can't wait for what else is in store over the course of this week. Morgul Blades donated $75. Says this donation is for my late grandparents who were and still are very positive influence on my life. They both battled cancer twice and lost the fight the second time. Thank you to all the staff, the runners, donators, and anyone else that makes this amazing event possible. $5 here from Butto, who says, wonder if my comment will get read. If it does, good luck to the runners. It did. Rygrex with $25 saying, it's always cool to see games I've never heard of totally obliterated. Let's finish off cancer next. $20 here from R Star Phoenix. Says, my friend Railkin got me started watching this because he said he works with y'all. It's fun watching some of these. I'm donating a total of $20, 10 of it going toward Kill the Animals, because I always do this in Super Metroid myself. The other $10, I'll leave it to Railkin's choice if he's still there. If not, I leave it to Announcer's choice. If you're tuning in, Announcer's choice is Kill the Animals, which is in the lead actually right now by over $8,000. So if you're one of the Save the Animals fans, get donating. We're still getting set here for LittleBigPlanet 3. We have a $20 donation here for Vice the Ultimate. Says, I always love watching AGDQ every year. Says, cancer took my grandma, so I want to see it wiped from the planet. Keep up the good work. $25 here, Anonymous, saying, DS Dad is the hero AGDQ deserves. Money goes to DS Dad's choice. At least $10 if he lets us know what he's playing. We'll pass that on. $10 here from Nick, who says, third GDQ that I've watched. Third one I've bought a shirt for, too. Thank you guys for supporting a good cause through the medium of gaming. If you're watching and wondering, those shirts, they're available all week long, right up until January the 15th. You check those out through the Yeti if you want one. Just about ready with setup here soon. There's still donations, though, coming in. $20 here from Jeff. He says, I've been watching since the second AGDQ. Donated my first time during SGDQ last year, and I'm trying to make sure it becomes a habit to donate every time. Thank you for everything you guys are doing. Awesome gameplay, awesome commentary, and an awesome cause, of course. Good luck to the runners, and kill the animals. There's $25 here from Ragsy. Says, first time donating to the amazing AGDQ. You guys are my favorite 2 parts of the year. My grandmother and my aunt both survived breast cancer. And my friend Isabel survived a 2-year battle with leukemia. They all came out on top. Here's hoping we can make sure more can do what they did. Put this towards Reader's Choice. Also, major shout out to my BFF Alyssa for introducing me to this amazing event. Let's hear an Alyssa Rocks, they say. Anybody? Alyssa Rocks? Just checking. There are multiple donations coming in for the road trip adventure incentives, which of course is coming up after Little Big Planet 3. Du Hast is taking off. We have an anonymous $10 donation here that says, a perfect morning, coffee and AGDQ. Keep up the good work. Also, it is my duty to vote for Du Hast. Adam D donated $50. He says, memes are so 2016, bringing back Du Hast like it's 1998. Avatar 1 with $10 who says, Du Hast. We have $50 here from BWE Zoo. Says, I always enjoy these events. I fully stand behind the goals as my work as a nurse brings me into contact with patients, hopefully benefiting from them. The money goes to Reader's Choice. $10 here from Ale and Pipio saying, greetings from Oakland, California. First time watching and first time donating. The runs are really entertaining. I'm going to watch them every year now. $5 here from W. Didieri. Says, hi everyone, first time donating to this great cause. Unfortunately, I couldn't find the time to make it to the event this time, but I definitely plan to sometime in the future. Save the animals. We have some dedicated attendees here who are getting ready for this Little Big Planet 3 run. And yeah, they're still awake. We have $5 here from Spiral Kips. Says, good work in the run. Shout out to my best friend Tim. Let's put this money toward the runner's choice. We'll find out what the runner's choice is probably in a minute here, as we're just about ready for Little Big Planet 3. I was just informed that Runner's Choice is actually memes for Road Trip Adventure currency name. So we may have a bit of a showdown for that incentive, memes versus Du Hast. So if you're thinking of donating, you might choose that as your decision. And with that, I'm told that we are ready for Little Big Planet 3, just about. So I'm going to kick it over to rbdjellyfish. Take it away, guys.
So are we good to start whenever? All right, sounds good. So timing starts at a really weird point. At the beginning of this game, we start it when we gain control of the character rather than when we start a new game. So I'm not even going to be able to count off accurately. I just have to do that. But yeah, so we're off. First thing I'm going to do is die. And that's because this game has a hold to retry button, which is basically a button you can press to kill yourself and spawn at whatever checkpoint's activated. And at the beginning of this level, there's a checkpoint that's activated slightly further ahead in the level before you can actually start moving in the level. So if I just hold to retry, I can basically warp forward and save a couple seconds. It took me longer to explain that than it actually saved time, but that's okay. Oh yeah, but anyway, I'm rbdjellyfish, or rbdjellyfish, or rabbit, rbd, whatever you want to call me. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm NKB.
FireChant.
Euclio.
Alright, and this game is LittleBigPlanet 3, which is actually the 7th LittleBigPlanet game to be released. Following the first game, LBP1, which is actually my favorite game to speedrun. And then there was a PSP game, a game that was like a Move demo. It was kind of small. LBP2 came out after that. And then there was like a kart racing game and a game for the Vita. And then this game finally came out in 2014. It came out on PS3 and PS4. I'm playing on the PS3 version because I don't have a PS4 yet, but there aren't really any big differences between the two. So the biggest difference is the loading times. But even then, in our community, we don't time our PBs in real time. We will take our PB videos and cut out all the loads in time based on that. Just so the different loading times don't like give people an unfair advantage. That said, the loading times in this game are absolutely painful. So I swapped out my PS3's hard drive for an SSD because originally this was like an hour-long run, and 22 of those minutes were like loading time, and it was awful. But with an SSD, it's like 5 minutes, so that's cool. What else? Oh, I'm not running on the latest version of the game. So it's gonna look really broken at parts. But that's because I'm running on version 1.05, and I think they're on patch 1.24 now, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. But if you're not familiar with the game, it's sort of a physics-based platformer. It's 2.5D, so it's like a regular side-scroller, but there are also layers depth-wise that I can stand in. You'll see me bouncing back and forth between some layers here. But yeah, one of the big themes of this level is it's kind of like falling apart. So you'll see the ground like shifting beneath my feet a lot of times, like there. At some points I can use that to my advantage and get like extra speed or higher jumps or something if I time it correctly. Like that. I kind of messed that up. I can still grab that though. That's good.
So, fun fact here: the guy who's talking a lot here, Newton, is actually voiced by Hugh Laurie, who is the famous guy for like House and stuff like that.
Yeah, and the other big narrator for this game is Stephen Fry, and those two are apparently really good friends, and they didn't even realize that they were both on this game until they were like both on set ready to voice act. So it's like this big surprise for them. They're like, "Oh my God, I haven't talked to you in forever. What are you doing here?" So yeah, like I said, this level is mostly just movement stuff. I have to do 5 levels in the prologue. This will be the second one. And the prologue is pretty linear. Like, if you're familiar with previous games, what happens is you usually beat a level and that unlocks the next level. And then you beat that one, it unlocks the next level, and so on. In this one, that's how the prologue is. And there are 5 levels like that. But once I beat the prologue, it becomes more like open world, which I'll explain how that works when we get closer to that. So yeah, that was that level.
We had a $5 donation here from Archerbam saying, I've been watching GDQ since it started. I love this amazing event. Lost my grandpa to stomach cancer 2 years ago, so this event means a lot to me. Hopefully we can all stop cancer.
Alright, I gotta put some stickers on some panels that fall from the sky, so I just kind of like move my cursor to the correct location, so as soon as I get the sticker, I can just place it in the right place by spamming X. This level's pretty much just like exposition and a tutorial for a gadget I get in a little bit. I'm going to put on a costume now because there's a little bit of downtime. The thing about this costume is it doesn't help me in the speedrun in any way, but this crown is kind of special because you can't get it in-game and you can't buy it as DLC. You have to get it straight from the developers. So the way I got mine is because a friend, PPJ, and I made a speedrunning guide on YouTube for how to speedrun the first game, and the community manager for LittleBigPlanet saw the guides and had his mind blown, so he gave us crowns. So that was really cool.
And now we have the hairdryer.
Yeah, we get a hairdryer. It's not just any hairdryer though. Not only does it blow air, but it also sucks air.
It's basically the gun from Ratchet and Clank there.
Yeah. So this gadget's pretty cool because you can actually use it to like fly, because you can stand on platforms and like suck the platform towards you and like fly by just like sucking it towards you, because that's clearly how physics works. But unfortunately I can't do that anywhere in the run because there's just nowhere to use it. But I'm sure if you went online and found like community levels using the Pumpinator, then you'd be able to like totally break them because you could fly everywhere.
Activate those switches and we'll be on our way. Brilliant. Join me in this super vertical infiltration station.
So you haven't actually mentioned this yet, but how much of the game are we actually going to skip in this here speedrun?
I think there are 20 levels I'm supposed to play, and I'll skip 11 of them. If you're a developer of this game and you're watching, I'm truly sorry. But yeah, this isn't even the fastest category. You'll see I'm running any % no create, which means create mode is off limits. This game has a big emphasis on like create mode. But create mode also comes with its own like set of really game-breaking glitches. So it's actually possible to beat the game in like 7 minutes if you use create mode glitches, but I don't want to do that. So I'm basically like restricted to the story mode in this category. So this level is pretty much a testing grounds for the Pumpinator. So we're pretty much just like breaking into this old lady's home and abusing her.
Yeah, she has a weird thing for cats, right?
Yeah, she has a whole bunch of cats. Some of them explode. Some of them just stare creepily from the background.
So why are we here again?
I don't actually know. I haven't watched the cutscenes in forever. Alright, there's a little skip I can do here. Just missed it. I'm gonna try it again. There it is. So that's one cool thing you can do with the Pumpinator is you can fling that platform around and like catapult yourself across that gap and skip some stuff. Alright.
So nice of you to pop by. Have a nice trip.
So I think what's happening in the game is that light bulb guy, Newton.
Hugh Laurie.
Yeah, he's trying to wake up these titans and use their creative power to like do cool stuff. But the titans are being kept like safeguarded
By
in
this old
this
lady?
mansion. Yeah, and she's basically protecting them. She comes off as like the villain, but really what happens is like she's the good guy, Newton's an idiot. So really the prologue is just a setup to like cause this huge problem, and then the rest of the game is solving that problem that we created. Oh yeah, those are the exploding cats I was talking about. I think I skipped in that menu. Yeah. Those ending menus, if you like spam X to skip past them, then it's actually slower to wait a bit and then start spamming X. I don't know why, but you save like 2 seconds per level if you just like wait a bit and then hit continue.
Leave me alone.
So we're coming up on the first boss here.
Yeah. There aren't really any big strats, so it's pretty much like it's like a Super Meat Boy style boss. That one
For it now.
in that one level where the guy's behind you trying to like squish you and stuff. Except it's easy here because this is like a children's game.
Wow, he's doing a really bad job at trying to
Yeah,
squish you.
you just kind of stand here and he like avoids you. Also, you can like fly up in the air. Oh no!
Oh no.
Oh, I survived.
Good save, good save.
Yep. Did you want to take a selfie? Now would be a good time for that, probably. Actually, wait, no, there's a better time in a bit. I forgot. I have to get rid of these
Good.
fireballs. I forgot I actually do things in this level. But yeah, this level's pretty much on a timer. Really, all I can do is like get fast hits on the boss and then like destroy these fireballs as quick as I can that he shoots out. Really destroying these fireballs is just like standing in the right spot and getting the right angle, but sometimes that's really hard to predict.
Yeah, there's a bit of RNG in that, right?
Yeah, a little bit. Well, not that part in particular. It's more about like where you're standing. It, where he shoots them depends on where you're standing. So, all right, that was the boss. All right, there's a cutscene coming up, so that would be a better time to like.
Might this be a good time then for some donations?
No, because I have to explain
Oh, okay, my bad.
something in a little bit. Yeah, do the selfie now, and then I got to explain like stuff. This is where it gets open world. So
Rather exciting, eh? Quite
I
the
gotta make sure I
thrill
spam
ride,
X
I
at the
can
right
agree.
part.
Oh,
Got it.
Nice.
Thanks.
it's a map. Maps are terrific.
Yeah, so that's the prologue.
Times terrifica, and that isn't even a word.
There's this
Imagine that.
cutscene that like teaches us about quests because those are used in like the open world part of the game.
Lost.
We don't need to worry about the.
We'll never
We
say
don't need to
one
worry about
cometh
that
this
though.
way.
But so the layout of these open world sections is that
Organise
you
a
start out
tour
in this
of
hub.
us. Here, take this. And
Hold
listen.
on.
When there's a laundry list.
Yes, I deloaded the. So there's this video that's supposed to be playing, and like if you jump high enough by getting launched by that teacup, then it deloads the video. So we just kind of have to sit here in awkward silence. But that's great because I can explain things.
Yeah.
So in the hub, well, you get to this hub world, you meet this character who tells you you got to explore, find some levels. In those levels, you collect 3 marbles. So that means like 1 level per marble. Once you got these 3 marbles, you can use them to wake up a hero who has these special abilities. You play a level as that hero, and once you beat that level, you come back to the hub as that hero, and then you can use that hero's special abilities to.
Now,
I almost
up
forgot to
your
do that.
organisatron, we have a heading. Let's go.
I always forget to do that. What was I? Oh yeah, you use that hero's special abilities to like reach the boss fight of the chapter. So really,
This is mangled.
the boss fight is always unlocked. It's just we can't reach it as Sackboy because he doesn't have the right abilities for it.
Have a word with Marlon Random. He's gone a bit bonkers,
However,
but he knows what's what. With odd sock on your
we
side,
messed around a
you can
bit and
stop
figured
those
out ways
horrible
to
titans and
skip
bring
some
back
stuff.
my new
This area in particular, it's a little difficult, so it might take me a few tries, but that's fine. So in this area, the hero is named Oddsock, and he can wall jump and like run fast and jump high and stuff.
Odd Sock's the best.
Yeah, Oddsock's pretty cool.
He's kind of like a dog, sort of.
All right, so I'm Oddsock now. Oh, I triggered this cutscene also. This is the intro cutscene I was talking about, where this guy pretty much explains everything I just explained, except with more charisma. This is Nolan North.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, this is Nolan North.
Nolan North does everything.
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna need to find
Taking my voice actor trivia from me.
So also, I just turned into Oddsock, and he's telling Oddsock that we need to wake up Oddsock. So that's pretty amusing. The thing that sucks is that it's actually possible to skip this cutscene. It's just extra precise. And it sucks for world record attempts because this cutscene wastes like a minute and a half or something. So it's like pretty much run dead if you hit this. But in a marathon, I wasn't expecting them to avoid it. So yeah, he's showing us all the levels we have to go to get the marbles.
One sits in the boughs of a great tree.
Some of these levels are pretty fun. I'm kind of sad that they're skipped.
When you find a marble, it will fly back to its place on the shrine gate. Find all three, and the gate will open. Don't worry, kid. I'll be on hand to direct you. You gotta get all
New
three
quest,
marbles
awaken
to
Oddsock
wake
the
up.
Swift. That is who I am right now. So the reason I turned into Oddsock is because normally when you beat Oddsock's level and you come back, then like Marlon Random, that guy who was just talking, was like, he's like, oh, good job, go this way so you can go to the next area or whatever. And then he's like, if you want to keep exploring and collecting items and stuff, but you want to do it as Sackboy instead of Oddsock, you can use this door. And like this door pops out of the ground. And if you stand in front of it and hit triangle, you switch between the two characters. So notice I didn't say that the door spawns, I say it popped out of the ground. So actually when you get to the hub, that door is like there, underground. And you can actually activate it from underground by jumping off of that elevator the correct way. And that was found by Lombeck's Pieboy only like a couple months ago. I died there on purpose, by the way, because I can hit this button faster. But yeah, that skip is called Manglewood Skip, and we were like trying to figure out ways of doing it for a really long time, and we had like 4 different theories of how it might be possible. But yeah, we couldn't really put the pieces together until Lombeck's came around, and it saves like 15, 20 minutes, so it's definitely worth it to try it even if you're bad at it. Also, you can wave your arms around and dance to the music and stuff, and it's really fun. Yeah, if you want to read some donations, if you have any, this is a good part because there aren't really any things to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we have $25 here from 3XL Neat that says, another day waking up with some AGDQ going on. Hope everyone's enjoying the LittleBigPlanet 3 run. Anyways, put my money towards Du Hast. We got $5 here. Anonymous says, New Zealand is watching. Give us a shout out. What's up, New Zealand?
Fire kills you in 2 hits in this game, so I just kind of like do that funny animation. I'm gonna miss this. No, I'm not.
Good save, good save.
Nice.
Good save. All right, and that's the first, that's book 1 completed. So you're gonna see for like a second all of the levels I skipped. When we go back to the map here in a second. A lot of the levels you can get in that chapter are optional, but it's still kind of funny seeing like only 3 levels unlocked here and all the rest are locked. Something satisfying about seeing one little line through all of that in like the context of speedrunning. Alright, so then now we're at chapter 2, but I skipped this too. Spoiler alert. I also skipped the intro cutscene that normally happens. It's much easier this time, fortunately.
How exactly did you do that?
Well, normally you walk into this room and this guy starts talking to you, but you can just do this. And then you warp up here, and then you don't trigger the cutscene. And it's so easy, and it saves like 2 minutes.
Right.
Alright, I'm gonna go to this level because it has a gadget that I need. Also, the dialogue sometimes carries over into the loading screens. That was one of the amusing things about running this game without an SSD, with like the really long loads, because you would like halfway through the loads you'd get like random lines of dialogue that would just pop in and out of the loading screens. And some of them are just really funny out of context. You just hear it would just be silent in the like the loads, and then you'd hear someone like scream in pain. It's like, what? Especially after not watching the cutscenes for like forever. It's like I forgot what's happening, and you just hear a scream, and but it's definitely worth it to like run this with faster loads, even if it's slightly less amusing. So I grabbed that gadget, and now I'm going back to the hub.
What's that gadget do exactly?
It lets you like hook your head onto like these rails, and like I don't know how to explain it. Like there are these rails, and you just kind of like hook onto them, and you can traverse them like that. So what I did there is I used the hook rail there to do a weird jump that pushes me into the up elevator, but there's no more up to go. So it just pushes me back like out of bounds, and I fall behind the level into this elevator that happens to take me straight to the boss. So I just skipped another 4 levels by doing that. So now we're at the boss, which we fight as Toggle, whose ability is to switch between like a big version and a little version. The big version's heavy, the little version is like light and runs fast and stuff. And the whole point of this level is to run away from like these giant chain arms, and like jump through obstacles and stuff. But if I just like die and spam the toggle button, you'll see in the background that I kind of get like stuck in like these checkpoints. So as long as I keep pressing this button, I'll get stuck in one of those like tubes in the background. The camera will think I'm dead, so it'll zoom straight to the next checkpoint, but I'm not actually dead. I'm just kind of like way back in the level. So like the camera just zooms from checkpoint to checkpoint waiting for me to respawn, but I never do, and it zooms like way faster than I can run. So it actually saves like 20 seconds to do this.
How fast are you spamming those buttons?
Not that fast. I kind of go to the beat of the music a little bit. Well, I'm using 2 fingers, so maybe it's a little fast.
Pretty intense music going on though.
Yeah. But yeah, that skip, it saves like 20 seconds, I think, and it was found by Flying Ragey. Oh, the big skip that I just did was found by Insomniac Nintendo also. He doesn't even run this game, but he found like one of the biggest skips in the game, so that's cool.
You had to be careful there to stop a little early to avoid a soft block, right?
Right. If you don't stop spamming L1, then you don't spawn at the last checkpoint. And the boss will just kind of stop there and you'll never spawn. So if you keep spamming L1, you never stop, then you just kind of get stuck there and have to restart the level. Which admittedly I almost did because I was explaining something and not paying attention, but it's all good. All right, and that's chapter 2. So we got 1 chapter left, which I also skip.
I'm sensing a recurring theme here.
Yes, very much. This next chapter is the main reason I don't run on the latest version of the game, which I mentioned like way early on in the run. And that's because of a gadget called the Boost Boots. which are pretty much they're pretty much boots that give you like a sort of double jump. You can like jump in the air and hit R1, and you'll get a boost in whatever direction you're moving. And yeah, so that's really useful. I'll just explain it when I get there. We have to sit through this cutscene. This one I'm pretty sure isn't possible to skip at all, because it triggers as soon as you enter the hub world. So we just kind of have to deal with it.
Well, I do have a $5 donation here from Yee, who says, "Hello, Rabbit. Promised you I would donate, and game's done quick in your run, so here it is. Keep your awesome runs awesome. See you later in your Twitch channel." They have a winky cat face they put there, and they also say, "Save the animals."
Thanks, dude.
At the top of a towering tower, and the other is in the belly of a monstrous monster. Send them both back here, and we
So how many levels are we going to do in this chapter?
2. Normally there are 5. Well, I go into one of them, but I don't finish it. I just grab the boost boots, like in the last chapter.
The marble sits at the top of this impossible.
So you're back to being Sackboy.
Yep. Yeah, every time you start a new chapter, you go back to Sackboy, and each chapter has like a different hero you unlock. This one it's Swoop, but we don't even get to Swoop until like later on.
To find this marble, you will need to borrow the queenly boost boots.
Alright, so these
Yeah,
things
they
are
are.
overpowered
Walk
in
over the
version
boost
1.05. So like I said, you can jump and hit R1, you get an extra boost, and then they recharge when you hit the ground. And then you can use them again or whatever. However, in this version of the game, what you can also do is you can recharge them in the air by quickly unequipping them and re-equipping them. So you can pretty much use them to like fly wherever you want. So I'm just gonna like Oop. Yep, we're good. And then there's also this ledge that I would like to stand on. I can go way back here. And now I'm at the second to last level in the game. So that time it only skipped 3 levels instead of 4, because for some reason this chapter only has 2 marbles that you need to collect. And then you unlock Swoop, but instead of going straight to a boss fight, you go to this level. And what happens here is that Sackboy gets captured, I'm pretty sure. And you have to rescue him by playing through the level as the 3 heroes that we've unlocked. So now we get to actually properly see their special abilities. So like I said before, Oddsock can run fast, jump high, and like run on walls and stuff. I'm gonna try to hit a fast cycle, so oops, that's not hitting the fast cycle. That's fine though, that doesn't lose that much time. Yeah, so I wanted to like reach the enemies. Oh god. Alright, we're good. These are all just small mistakes. Yeah, this level is actually like really difficult. Might not seem that way. I'm gonna try this trick that I've only known about for a few days. I'm not gonna try it. I'm lying.
It's okay, you made it.
Good save.
I survived, but you can actually like fall down that entire gap and like dodge those like little plasma rectangles. And it saves, I don't know how much time it saves actually. I think it's like 5 or 10 seconds. Alright, so that's the Oddsock section. Up next is Toggle. So we haven't properly seen Toggle. We've only seen him like spawning at a checkpoint and then getting stuck there. Alright, Toggle's the most physicsy, because the heavy version, or the big version is heavy and can break things and like sink in water and that kind of stuff. But I try to be the little version as much as possible because he runs faster and jumps higher and stuff. He's much more mobile. Oops. Yeah, I'm good.
His face looks a little bit like a Meeseek from
Oh yeah.
Rick and Morty.
I haven't noticed that.
Fun Rick and Morty fact, actually. Squanchy is actually voiced by Tom Kenny, who is SpongeBob. Look it up.
Totally unrelated to the game.
Unrelated, yes, but
Yeah.
But cannot unhear. Yeah, so there isn't a whole lot of like speed tech happening here, but I'm mostly just concentrating so I don't mess up.
That's not a battery. That's a coffee maker. How can you possibly hope to defeat an intellectually superior opponent such as
You may have noticed some of the dialogue like repeats itself.
Yeah.
It's too late.
I don't know why,
Just leave and go.
but it does.
so
Can I
this
make
is
this? Nope. I think I could have, but I messed up the like swoop.
this is Swoop, right?
Yeah.
You haven't seen
The
Swoop
Yeah,
yet.
this is like the first we're seeing of Swoop, which is pretty much a bird that can flap his wings to fly, like most birds. But he can also do this glide.
Penguins would like to have a word with you.
Oh, that's true. I said most birds,
Yeah.
not,
Just teasing.
of course. But yeah, the fastest way to move is to like do this glide, which unfortunately like loses some altitude, so you kind of have to flap your wings a bit to like regain altitude, and then glide again to get a little bit more speed.
And normally we would have seen Swoop before this point. We
Yeah,
just skipped those levels.
there's like a whole level where you're introduced to Swoop and all this stuff happens, but it gets skipped. Even if we had played that level, there's like a big skip within that level that like skips 90% of it, I'm pretty sure. It's been a while since I've done that though, because
You've never
that-
got that skip.
that big chapter skip was found like not long after the game came out actually. Maybe a couple months, I'm not sure. That was actually one I found, I think, with the help of a couple other people. I think like A50 caliber camo. This
Yeah,
is a
like
really fun
wave-
level to like wave your arms around
Wave
like
your
crazy.
arms around.
So the strategy here, I die there on purpose just so I can get past this stuff, because the strategy here is to try to use Toggle's toggle ability as little as possible. That's because on PS3, for some reason in this level, when I toggle, it like lags for a few frames. So that builds up over time, these little frame hitches, and I can actually lose a few seconds just by using Toggle's ability. So I try to do as much of this section as possible without like switching, which makes it a little bit more difficult. Like these little gaps you're supposed to do as little toggle, but you can just barely fit through as the big version.
Yeah, and you're not running as fast or jumping as high. So
Yeah, exactly. And plus you're bigger, so it's harder to like avoid things he throws at you later on. Like these things. These things are kind of hard to jump over. Yeah, otherwise, this is actually a pretty difficult boss fight, but once you have like the patterns memorized, it's not that bad. Alright, and that's the toggle section. So this boss fight's similar to the previous level, where we kind of do a section as all of the characters, except Sackboy's included this time. But the swoop section's just a big, long dive. And if you die, you have to like restart the entire section, which is kind of annoying. but it's not too hard. Also, it's kind of a weird grab. Alright, so next is the Sackboy section, which is pretty short, assuming I don't die, which might happen. It's been happening a lot lately. Usually because I try stupid tricks that aren't marathon safe, so I'm not going to do that. I think I could have made that jump, actually. Oh well. A lot of the things I'm talking about in this level are like really tiny optimizations.
Yeah, just seconds, not.
Yeah, like. All right. So time is going to be coming up pretty soon. I just got to do the odd sock section, which is also relatively short.
The water's rising. We need to get out of here, quick. I'm allergic to drowning. I come out in these big, well,
Oh, am I going to make that? Oh, wow. That was
Nice.
close.
Good save, good save.
My mind blanked and I forgot where I was in the level. I thought I had to slow down for some reason. This is the part I was thinking of. If you go too fast there, you just completely miss that wall. So you have to slow down to like hit those bounce pads. All right, so this will be pretty much it.
Cool.
36:42 is not bad at all.
Solid.
So record is 35:20, I think. Considering that one cutscene I failed to skip is like a minute and a half, that's really good.
Yeah. Good job.
Thanks. Yeah, so that's it. Shoutouts to all the other LBP speedrunners out there that may or may not be watching, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, give it up again, guys, for rbdjellyfish. A fantastic run. The donations have been coming through all throughout the run. We've got some greetings here from the UK, $10 from Gabby, who says, my boyfriend and I love watching AGDQ. We're thrilled we can watch live this year. Well done to all the runners and organizers for all your hard work. Money towards Fallout New Vegas